Hi everybody, how you doing today? I am going to show you how to make a really awesome sensory bottle. Now this is one that I made with my daughter, so this is what it looks like when it's settled, not too exciting. But as we get to mix it up and we get all those beads and glitter going, you can see they're all kind of stuck at the bottom. But as we start mixing it together, we get a really awesome filled up sensory bottle, okay? And the fun part about this, besides just playing with it, is that there are absolutely tons of different materials that you can use to make these. So I'm going to show you some of the materials that I have on hand, but please use your imagination, as I know that a lot of things you might not have today. So I've been saving a lot of nice, clean plastic bottles. They might have like a little stickiness once you take the label off. But a little warm soap and water will take that off. I didn't take it off of this bottle yet. I also have just a little bit of water that I'll put inside my bottle and some dish soap. You don't have to use the dish soap. I know we're saving it these days. I have a little bit extra, so I'm going to use it for this tutorial. The only difference that it makes if you add dish soap, or you can also use hair gel or oil, is it will help the different beads and glitter and stuff that's inside kind of move a little bit slower and give kind of a softer, relaxing effect. Whereas if you just use plain water, it's going to mix up really fast, which is okay too. Okay, so that's why we use the dish soap with the water to help do that. Next, we have some different glitters. I love going to the dollar store because why spend a lot of money on stuff? So at the dollar store, you can get all different types of glitter. You can order online as well. Takes a little while to get there, but you can order it online as well. So if you want to add anything sparkly to it, and then you can look around your house and see if you can find any old beads, or buttons work really well. Beans, if you have dried beans. So here are just some different beads that I have. These are also from the dollar store. If you could see, I've used a little bit of a blue, a little bit of a pink, some of the green. So I don't use all of each color at once because for this one I wanted to mix it up. But if your kids prefer a specific kind, that's cool too. So like I said, be very creative. Look at the stuff you have at home, and that's how you're going to put together your sensory jar. You could also use rice. That's good. You can make them dry. You don't have to make a water sensory bottle. I could also add some links for how you can make an entire sensory bottle using materials that don't involve liquids. But I have to say, I made this almost 2 months ago when we started teaching from home with my daughter, and I just gave it a really tight twist on the cap, and I have not had any issues with her being able to open it up. You can put some glue on the bottom though. So anyway, now that we've seen all of our materials, let's make a quick sensory bottle, okay? So I have my bottle, and I'm gonna just start putting my dry materials in first. So that's my glitter and my beads. For this, I'm gonna use all of this little tub of glitter because there's not that much in it. You can see it's about the size of my thumb, so it's not really a big container of glitter. So we've got that in the bottom. Can you see that? It's a little tough to see. I'll spread it out a little. There you go. So we've got our glitter in there, and I think for this one, I'm gonna go with some green beads and maybe some blue beads, okay? So let's see if I can tilt this down a little bit and you can see pouring it in. I'm going to use it straight from the package, but I would suggest putting it in some sort of a cup first, and then you can assist in putting it in. So now we've got some green beads in there. Shake it up. And what did I say? Did I say blue beads? I think I said blue beads. So I'm going to put some of those in there. So here we've got our blue beads. I'm just kind of trying to gently open it up so it doesn't spill everywhere. But, you know, that's part of art, is we make a mess. And it just adds another activity, right? Because then we can learn about how to clean up our messes. So it's not the biggest deal if some of these fall on the floor. But that reminds me, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to any of the materials that are going into our sensory bottle that you think your kids might think are tasty, all right? Because we don't want any of these to end in somebody's mouth. Here, I'm going to pour it into my hand first for this guy. So here, I put it in my hand first. See that? Those beads. And then we'll plop them right in here. Yep, we got a couple on the floor. That's all right. Maddie loves to use the dust buster, so that'll be a fun project. Okay, so now we've got our beads and our glitter in the bottom. I'm going to put that to the side. I always like to clean up one material before I bring out the next because it just makes things a little bit more organized. And now we've got our soap. Okay, so just to make it go a little faster, I'm going to pull it off. But for you guys, you can leave the cap on and squeeze it through that little hole. And I'm going to fill it most of the way with this soap. Mine just happens to be clear, but you can absolutely use any color soap. If you want to mix oil and water, you can use food coloring if you happen to have that handy. That goes well. And then you also have a separation in colors as it sits. So that's always fun. And then I'm just going to take some of my water last and fill it up in there. And you can always add more, so try a little bit at a time until you get the consistency that you like. And it's okay, I still have some space at the top, but we'll keep filling this up. I like to leave a little wiggle room in case we have to put some more water or more of our gel or soap into it. So let's see how that worked out. Let's see how our sensory bottle works if we mix up our materials. Let's see if we can see those silver sparkles, blue beads, and green beads in there. So we're gonna keep moving. I see that glitter starting to incorporate in there. We've got some bubbles on top. One of the games that I like to play with my daughter is we just kind of roll them on the ground back and forth. We also like to hold them up to different types of light, the sunlight and the lamps, because they all give different effects. And so there we go. Now we're getting a nice mix on there of our materials, right? So you can see that as we do this together, you can mix the colors together and see how they look together as you roll them side to side, find them. And so these are just simple little sensory bottles. And they could work with all different kinds. I do recommend plastic, but they can be used with glass bottles too if you trust that they won't get broken. And you could put tons and tons of glitter and beads into here. Buttons. If you do rice, you can put different types of little colored beads in to see if they can identify the colors. And all those are different ways. But like I said, there are so many different ways to make these awesome sensory bottles. And I would encourage you to give it a shot, because there's something that we can really just keep playing with and relaxing with over and over again. They're nice. We can move them slowly and quickly. We can shake them to the music when we're having dance parties. Or we could just kind of, roll them slowly, zone out for a minute if we need to cool down. Sensory Clay is always good for so many different things. So that's my little tutorial this evening on making sensory bottles. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if there's anything that you want to see, feel free to email me, jprice@brookvillecenter.org. Have a good night.